Title: The Pact. Under the rain. The rain lashed against the window with fury, each drop a tiny drumbeat on the glass. In the solitude of my house, perched atop a windswept hill, the sound amplified, filling every corner with its insistent melody. It was midnight, the hour when shadows seemed to come alive and fears, fueled by darkness, sharpen. I had lived alone for years, after life had dealt me a bad hand. Silence had become my constant companion, a dull echo of the laughter and conversations that once filled this place. I tried not to think about it. I took refuge in books and the contemplation of the landscape that surrounded me. But on nights like this, with the storm unleashed, the ghosts of the past awoke and tormented me without mercy. Suddenly, a dry, resonant knock interrupted the monotonous lament of the rain. A knock at the door. My heart leapt. Who could it be at this hour, in the midst of such a storm? I got up cautiously, the creaking of the wood under my feet sounding loudly in the silence. I approached the door and looked through the peephole. The vision was blurred, distorted by the water droplets swirling on the glass. Still, I could distinguish a dark silhouette, tall and thin, wrapped in what looked like a long cloak. I didn't recognize anyone. I hesitated. I wasn't expecting visitors, much less at this hour. Should I open it? Curiosity, mixed with a primal fear, gnawed at me from within. After a few seconds of doubt, I decided to open the door, a crack only, with the chain on. "Who is it?" I asked with a trembling voice. A soft, mellifluous voice answered from the darkness. It was a voice that seemed to caress the soul, but at the same time emitted a strange, unsettling vibration. "I have what you need," the voice said, with a seductive tone that chilled my blood. "Will you let me in?" The rain intensified, and the figure at the door remained motionless, like a statue of shadows. What is it that I need?" I stammered, feeling a chill run down my spine. "What you crave the most," the voice replied, with a dramatic pause. "What torments you every night?" "Happiness." Returned. Happiness. The word resonated in my mind like a tempting promise, a mirage in the desert of my solitude. My mind clouded, reason fighting against desire. Could it be true? Was it possible that this person, or whatever it was, held the key to unlock the doors of my past and return what I had lost? How? How do you know that? I asked, feeling my will weakening. "I know everything about you," the voice said, with a smile that I could feel even though I couldn't see it. "I know your dreams, your fears, your regrets. I know what you're willing to do to get your happiness back." I opened the door a little more, the chain still on, and I could see the figure more clearly. It wore a hat that hid its face, and the dark cloak billowed in the wind. I couldn't distinguish its features, but I felt that it was watching me with a penetrating intensity. "What do you want in return?" I asked, knowing that nothing is free in this world. "A small favor," the voice replied, with a tone that became slightly rougher. "A small sacrifice. Something you no longer need." "What are you talking about?" I asked, feeling fear paralyze me. "Your soul," the voice replied, without hesitation. "In exchange for your happiness, I want your soul." Silence seized the environment, interrupted only by the roar of the storm. My heart beat hard in my chest, like a frantic drum. The offer was tempting, but the price was too high. "No," I said firmly, slamming the door shut. "I will not make a deal with the devil." I heard a soft, chilling laugh that resonated in my ears as I locked the door and bolted it. I walked away trembling, feeling that the evil presence was still on the other side. I spent the rest of the night awake, listening to the wind howl and the rain lash against the window. The figure at the door was gone, but the feeling that I was being watched remained. The next morning, the storm had ceased. The sun shone brightly, illuminating the washed and fresh landscape. I went outside, feeling the need to breathe fresh air and get away from the darkness of the night before. That's when I saw it. On the ground, next to the door, was a small wooden box. I picked it up cautiously and opened it. Inside, there was a photograph. A photograph of me, smiling, surrounded by my family, before everything fell apart. I took the photo in my hands, feeling a lump in my throat. It was a memory of a happy time, a time that would never return. But as I looked at the photo closely, I noticed something strange. In the lower corner, there was a small dark spot, like a shadow spreading over the image. Suddenly, I felt a sharp pain in my chest. I collapsed to the ground, unable to breathe. The photograph fell from my hands, and the dark spot spread rapidly, covering the entire image. When I opened my eyes, I was in my bed, sweating and trembling. It had been a nightmare, a horribly real dream. But as I looked around, I noticed something that wasn't there before. On the nightstand, next to my bed, was a small wooden box. I I opened it with trembling hands. Inside, there was a photograph. A photograph of me, smiling, surrounded by my family, before everything fell apart. But in the lower corner, there was a small dark spot. The spot grew slowly. And I felt my soul fading away. The midnight visitor had kept his promise. The deal was sealed.